Namaskaram. This is an extremely important video if you're planning to start your preparation in CA final auditing. And this is a real video taken in real settings because we have our bootcamp students and I'm explaining how we should start audit in real time. So pay attention. So let's say you do not know anything about auditing. And if this is where you're getting started, the first and foremost thing you have to understand is what exactly is the outcome which ICA is expecting from you. So for that, it makes sense for you to go through certified copies. Let's say, now this says somebody in India has scored 61 out of 70. So we struggle to get 20 out of 70, so somebody has scored 61 out of 70. Now what made ICA give 61 marks to this paper? So if you see, the answers, it's in terms of quantity, it's the same. It's not significantly different. In comparison, this is another paper where they got 41 out of 70. 19 out of 70, 41 in total. So whether you get 20 marks or 60 marks, the quantum or the length is not significantly different. If you look at the first question, same, 1.5 page, 1 mark. Here, 5 by 5. So what is different about it? Structure, relevance, and all of that. So you have to constantly figure out what is the right way. Again, certified copies is different from suggest answers. If you look at suggest answers, they give you idealistic answers. Suggest answers gives you close to ICA material answers. So that may not be replicated all the time. So you should have at least 1 or 2 references with different scope. So let's say somebody 60 by 70, somebody got 20 by 70. 20 by 70 is the minimum you should get. 60 by 70 is the highest possible we can think of. So in the initial days, in the first or second day, you have to go through this to know what is the ideal answer. For you to get to this output, this is the output on the day of the examination. For you to get to the output, you should know the input. Now, the input sources, number one, ICA has this index. In all the modules, it has the basic index. So when you go through it quickly, it will talk about what is there in each of the chapters. It's like the 1% width. The width activity which we did for the last 2 subjects, it's like the 1% width. So once you go through this width entirely, you'll know what is there. Now to make it even better, what we have done is we created our own index, which is a summary of what is there in ICA, and we created an overview like this. So what exactly is the objective of each and every chapter in a single line? So all the modules are covered, and once this is done, in each module, how much depth is required to answer the questions, we already done it. So effectively, if you have a reasonable understanding of this one single file, you'll be able to score 15 audit. This is enough, okay? But it takes some work for you to understand this. So one file can get you 15 audit without any other source. That is there. Let's get to this a bit later. But right now, you have to know 2 aspects. This is the width where you know something about everything. This is the depth where you have to know everything about something. So today we'll cover both. You'll know something about everything, and you'll know everything about something, which is 2 chapters, completion and review and reporting. So this is the approach which you should know. And constantly, the weightage should be very clear in your mind. So I'll make it simple for you. I'm not sticking to the ICA weightage exactly, because in your mind, simplification is very important. So what I would say is 3 chapters. Let's say chapter 1, chapter 2. I'm making it clear once again for you here. So if you see chapter 1, chapter 2 and chapter 3, quality control, auditor responsibility, professional ethics. These 3 together will come for 20 marks. Quality control, auditor responsibility and professional ethics, 20 marks. There are 16 more chapters which come for 80 marks. So when 16 chapters are coming for 80 marks, in your mind, you should know that it's an average of 5 marks per chapter. It's not exactly, something will go for 0, something will go for 10, but you should know that that is the approach you should go. When a chapter comes for 5 marks, all you have to do is, how do I get the 2 marks? Right? So, this approach will help you understand all chapters are important. Some chapters are more important. But when you look at 16 chapters coming for 80 marks, you know that on average it's for 5 marks. So, a chapter comes for 5 marks, would you spend 3 days on one chapter? Or would you like to get to a point where you can understand it fast and get to the point where you can write answers for that? Okay, this is how. Now, within this, now I'll give you a comparative explanation between other chapters. This chunk I want all of you to study well. Chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 19, because it gives you the base of auditing, not just in terms of weightage. What is the objective, what is the intent, and these are easy to cover. 1 to 19 will take time, 1 and 2 can be done fast. This is done. Out of the remaining topics, based on the weightage allocated by ICA, let's say digital audit and SDG are compulsory questions. I cannot say that for professional ethics also. Professional ethics question will come. But in general, out of all the chapters, digital audit and SDG are sure short questions, 8 to 10 marks. They'll come for sure. So that's why when you know that a question is going to come for sure, why should we leave it? So that we have included in the first 50. So we normally go with this approach. First 50 marks, which is more important than the remaining 50. It's like the better half of the half. So this is first 50, Nifty 50. So in this, you have professional ethics, chapter 18, chapter 7, chapter 12, 18, 19. These 3 will come for sure, compulsorily. Due diligence investigation, easy, and there is a reasonable chance. Quality control, as I said earlier, it's instrumental for you to get an understanding of the overall audit of the subject. And then audit evidence, completion and review. Reporting is important, but reporting takes some amount of time. So, we are looking at multiple ways of categorizing the paper. One is in terms of what is easy, one is in terms of weightage, one in terms of understanding for you to build the conceptual base. So today we are doing a combination of both. Something which is simple, something which can be easily done, plus one chapter which is not very easy, but it is definitely coming into the exam and which creates, because the whole of auditing depends on 2 things. How do you gather evidence to give your opinion? How do you gather evidence to give your opinion is audit, right? So to gather evidence, sufficiency and appropriateness of audit evidence. So how do you determine sufficiency and appropriateness? Based on the materiality. How do you arrive at the materiality? Based on the assessment of the audit risk, which is based on, once again, the internal control. So the way you do the risk assessment and internal control will help you understand how you should approach the audit process entirely. So the game should constantly be, how do you gather enough evidence, both in terms of quantity and quality. Sufficiency is quality, appropriateness is quality, to gather or to give you an opinion which reflects the true and fair view. So the opinion should be true, communicating the true and fair view. So you have to constantly check for fraud, error, mistakes, together called as misstatements, which should be material enough. This is audit. This is the heart of audit. Now, in terms of the chapter classification, there are 19 chapters, as I said. Chapter 1, quality control. Chapter 2, general responsibilities, auditor responsibilities. Chapter 19, professional ethics. These 3 come as a particular segment. Apart from this, if you look at the first chapters, they come as the core of audit, the heart of audit and core of audit. Quality control. Now, this is something which I read in Inter also. Audit planning, strategy and execution, material risk assessment, internal control. So, planning, strategy and execution plus risk assessment will help you to arrive at the audit evidence, right? And once you have the audit evidence, then before you report, you just do some completion and review procedures. Now, what are they? Let's say something like subsequent events, impact of subsequent events on going concern. If going concern is impacted, how would you report it? Either through management representation, 560, 570, 580, and it will come to reporting segment completely. So this is about your first 7. 8, 9, 10, 11 are also standard event chapters. 8, 9, 10, 11 are also standard event chapters. Here we focus on specialized areas, related service, and review standards and assurance services. These are ancillary standards. These 4 together will come for at least 15 marks. Then 12 to 18 are pure comprehension based. They're not standard driven. They're like comprehension based. You understand and replicate. For comprehension based, people talk a lot about things. For example, digital audit, people find it very hard. But if you do it properly, a 4 to 5 marker question will come from digital audit. This one page is enough. One page. When I say one page, the whole chapter, when it gets summarized, the process of summarizing itself will make it easy for you. See, if you don't process it, this may not be enough. But if you process and convert into a page, single page like this, then that is enough. Right? So we are going ahead with limited sources, deep understanding, question practice, and eventually the approach is how do you get 20 by 30 in MCQ and 20 by 70 initially, can it move to 30? Clear? This is how we are going to do. So this should be there in your mind. And by the end of the day, you'll see that, okay, this is how audit has to be done. And we are looking at covering 15 to 20 marks today. Okay? Thank you for recording this.